Hey dolls, welcome back and thanks so much for spending part of your day with me. If you're new here, my name is Amber Michon and I do weekly DIYs, hauls, and other fun things. If you're not new, hey doll, hey. So in today's video, I am sharing with you some really easy, really pretty farmhouse, Isaiah's excited. Farmhouse Easter DIYs for you. I really hope you enjoy them. If you do, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. If you're new, I would love if you would consider subscribing and hitting the bell right next to it so you're notified every time that I upload. All right, dolls, let's jump right in. All right, with this DIY, we're making some Easter blocks, and these are the items I'm going to be using. Some like toy dice from Dollar Tree, along with this wood decor block sign that says "So Fresh and Clean." And then I'm going to paint those dice blocks white using my Waverly chalk paint. I'm going to remove this fresh galvanized word, as well as like the little metal things on the ends. I'm super excited about these because I didn't realize I could take them off so easily, and I plan on using them in another project, so I'm super excited about that. So I went ahead and sanded down the front side of this, and I couldn't really get it too flat, so I decided to paint the block using my Waverly chalk painted ink. This is how everything looks when it's dry. I gave those colored blocks like 3 paint coats of white, so the colors are pretty bold and bright. But anyways, after that was done, I took my chip brush and some antique wax paint and decided to dry brush mainly on the edges and then a little bit in the middle of the block, so just all around on all of the blocks. And I gave it a medium to a heavy dry brushing, coat or whatever you want to call it. So I did all of those, and then after that was done, I changed my mind on this craft like 3 times, maybe twice. So I thought that I wanted to hot glue them together in a way where they were kind of a couple were higher than the others. So I ended up doing that and just hot gluing them like a little bit on like the corners and things like that. But it just didn't work for me. I didn't really like it. So after I was complete with it, I just kept it because, sometimes with these crafts, you got to leave it alone, set it aside, just keep going. So I just kept going. This is what it looks like after that first idea. I thought it would look cool, but okay, just bear with me. So I took my black paint marker. I got this from Walmart and am just freehand writing the word Easter on here. Each block gets a letter, right? And I really wanted this to have this homemade look to it. I just wanted it to be nice and like it looks like it's homemade, but you're not sure because it just looks really nice, but you know what I mean, right? Anyway, so I did that. And then I started to position it on my decor block the way that I want. And then I realized, nope, I don't like the way that some of them are raised up. So I took it apart and then just hot glued them together in one straight line on this block. And then because I took it apart, some of the paint showed through. So I just took a small paintbrush and touched up some of the areas that needed to be touched up. Then I hot glued it to the block and then took my antique wax and then touched that up when the white paint was dry. Before that, though, I did put some greenery on here. So I'm using this. I love these Dollar Tree spring florals where it's like kind of like frosty or whatever. Not frosty. You know what I'm talking about. This lavender, like with this eucalyptus greenery. I love it. So I used a little bit of what I had left and put that on the top and then the sides. And this is how it turned out. I love how it looks. I love that I decided to just put them all in one row. And yeah, it looks really, really cute and I really like it. So I also wanted to share that I am doing a collaboration with some really talented ladies. This collaboration is hosted by Sarah over at Pajama Crafts. Her channel link will be in the description box below, as well as the link to the playlist so you can see everybody else's videos, and you guys can get all of the Easter inspiration that your heart desires. All right, let's jump right back in. All right, next up, we are doing this blue truck sign. Now, you all know I am not a fan of the little red truck like craze, but I could not resist with this DIY. So I decided to take a different take because it is spring and Easter. I took blue. So I'm taking these two summer signs from Dollar Tree along with this pink fresh flowers truck, and I'm gluing the two signs together after I remove the welcome word from both of them using a little spatula from Dollar Tree. Hot glue it down the middle and then hot glue some craft sticks for some extra support. To cover those holes, I'm using this lightweight spackle that I picked up from Dollar Tree and just put it in those holes. Super easy. You put it in there and it literally dries really fast. Wipe it down with a rag and then sand it down just to get a smooth surface. Then I paint this sign using my Waverly chalk paint in white, but I don't do full coverage. I still want some of the board to show through just a bit, and this is what I am left with. Not too much show through, but yeah. Then the next thing I did is took my truck and took off the raised, like, what are these, like wheel barrel things? I don't know. Anyways, so I lost the footage of me painting this truck, but I used this crystal chalk paint along with this blue kazoo acrylic paint. So I painted it the blue kazoo first, and then I went back over it with my crystal colored chalk paint, and this is the color that it gave me, and I absolutely love it. Then I took a pencil to trace out and draw out full circles to get a tire. So then I took my black acrylic paint and painted in the circles for my tire. And then I'm painting those little pink glittery, like above the wheel. I don't know what these things are called, y'all. They're not rims. I have no idea. Anyways, I painted those white on the side that wasn't glitter. And then I remembered I needed to paint on the inside of my wheel white. So I did a little circle on the inside of that. I just freehand painted that myself. And then I hot glued those pieces, those pink glittery pieces back in place. They're a little backwards, but I didn't feel like sanding down the glitter and doing all that. So, hey, if you notice that they're backwards, that's on you. It doesn't bother me. The next thing I did, I changed my mind with this one too, is I took these Dollar Tree stickers and I wanted to spell out carrots 5 cents. So I used a ruler to position my letters correctly, and then I just printed out, I just like drew the cents part, but I didn't like the way it looked. So I changed it to carrots and flowers, and then adhered that better with some Mod Podge over the top because these stickers don't really stick that well. After that was done, I took my board and wanted to do some faux shiplap lines. So I took my ruler again and just kind of measured out the width of the ruler and took my utility knife and just scored the boards on both sides. And I think there's about 5 lines on each side. So yeah, that part was really easy, and I love how it looks. It looks really, really nice. Once that was done, I sanded it down a little bit just to get me a more finished farmhouse look. And then it was time for me to glue my truck on. So I just put a generous amount of hot glue on it and then press that down. And of course, because it says carrots and flowers, we need some on our truck, right? So I took these little orange carrots from Dollar Tree and I only used 4 of them. Taking this greenery pick from Dollar Tree, deconstructing that a bit and just kind of placing everything down the way that I want, in the way that I think it looks nice and it looks good and put together. After that was done, I felt it needed something more. I'm not a painter or a drawer, so like me like putting like the back of like a truck on there, like, you know, like the little caddy on the back was not something that's not my ministry. But anyway, so basically what I did is took a piece of burlap, folded it in half, hot glued that down over top of the bottom of the carrots, and I love how it turned out. It looks like a little bag inside of the truck, and then I just gave it a little bit of distressing with some white paint, and I love this. Oh my gosh, maybe I'm a blue truck fanatic, not a red truck, but this gives me all the spring and Easter feels. Next up, we have this really cute, super easy bunny trail sign. So you're going to take one of these signs from Dollar Tree that has the galvanized bunny on it and just remove that. It comes up really easily. Then I'm going to paint my sign using my ink chalk paint. This is what I'm left with just one coat, really. You don't need more than one. And then I took my Cricut and cut out bunny trail along with an arrow and then just adhered that. It's a little crooked. I need to do better at getting my stuff straight. It's just a tiny bit crooked. If you're staring at it long enough, you'll notice. But if you just glance and it's like, oh, that's cute, then you don't really notice. But yeah, so I just put that on there and then hot glued the bunny towards the bottom of my sign. I cut down the bow that it had just a little bit, wanted to shorten it because I thought it was just a little bit too big. And then I gave it some distressing on the edges using my white Waverly chalk paint. And yeah, I mean, that's really it for this one. Super, super easy. I also gave a little bit of distressing for the bunny. And then just for an added touch at the top, I love putting some twine, wrapping that around the top, hot gluing it on the back to adhere it. And then to hang it, I painted over the holes. So I needed to get a faux look of hanging. So I like to tie a knot and then hot glue it on the front of that hole and then just hot glue some twine onto the back. And yeah, super easy, you guys. This one is my favorite because it's so easy, but I mean the blue truck is giving me a run for its money, but I really love the simplicity of this. Next up, we have this really cute, super easy Jesus mason jar is what I'm calling it. So from Walmart, I picked up this mason jar during fall. It was just 75 cents. So it was after fall. So I took off the tag on the back and then just gave that 2 coats of white chalk paint. And then after that was dry, I took my Cricut again and cut out the phrase "Silly Rabbit, Easter is for Jesus," which I think is so cute. And it has like a cross in the background of it. So I absolutely love this. And I think it just is so adorable. This mason jar would look super cute on like a tier tray. So once I started to weed out my vinyl, I actually brought up some of the paint. So I just decided to give it more of a distressing look. So I took my antique wax paint and distressed it all around. I really wasn't trying to do a distressing thing on here. I was going for a different look, but because I had the little oopsies with the paint pulling up, I had to go in a different direction. That happens all the time, right? So this is what it looks like after I've distressed it. Then I'm taking this lace ribbon from Dollar Tree, wrapping that around a couple of times at the top of the mason jar and hot gluing that down to the back. I also give it a little bit of distressing with that antique wax paint. And then I decided to take some twine and wrap that around the top of the ribbon as well. And then just a couple of times at the bottom, just to give it a more finished look. I really don't like spaces, like, what am I saying? I really don't like voids, like space voids on signs and stuff like that. So I try to put something that doesn't overpower what the actual piece is, if that makes any sense. But this is how this mason jar has turned out, and I absolutely love it. I think it is so pretty. All right, for the last DIY in this video, we're making a bunny wreath. Super easy. Take one of these bunny wreaths from Dollar Tree, and you're only going to need 2 of these 9-foot white nautical ropes from Dollar Tree. I was so surprised that I only needed 2, to be honest. But just take off this tinsel, and it was a pain. It got on my nerves, and I just don't want to do it again. But it does take some time, and it's just wrapping it around and stuff like that. But I just kept cutting it, making a mess. But yeah. Anyways, this is what it looks like once it's all off. So then I decided to go ahead and cut off the little knobs that are on there that was able to keep the tinsel around. You can use scissors, but I decided to use my little wire cutters, my floral wire cutters, because it was just a little bit easier. So you just cut that all down and around, and this is what you're left with. Super clean, super easy. Then I take my nautical rope and start off around where the neck part is, and then just go all the way around. So I do hot glue all the way around. I tried to like maybe skip a few parts, but it didn't work out. You could see like the wreath form in between. So you want to make sure that you're just putting hot glue down on every spot, literally. And then for this rope, it's good to kind of tighten it and pull it so the bottom of this wreath is not as tight as like the top where the head and the ears are. So just make sure you're pulling it a little bit tight to get it a more tight finished look to it. So that's basically it. One rope went all the way around at the bottom, and then when I needed to hide it on the back, I just hot glued it onto the back. And then one rope actually did it for the top ears and head part, and actually still had more left over. So I'd say I used about 1.5 of these rope, and I didn't cover the ears all the way around, and you will see why in a minute. But this is what I'm left with once I am done wrapping it all with the rope. So then I'm using my favorite greenery boxwood along with this lavender that I absolutely love. Hot glued that down to the neck part, and then I hot glued some of that boxwood inside of the ears. I think it's so cute. Oh my gosh, I love this. And then I also put a little bit of lavender on the inside of the ears as well. And then this was an afterthought. I probably shouldn't have done this, but I hot glued it down, and then I lost half of the footage of it. But I also hot glued some of the lavender on the inside of the wreath. I should have done it on the outside, like on, yeah, but it's still cute. I did a little jute bow tie, a jute bow on the neck part too. I still think it's really cute though. Alright dolls, that's all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give me a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below which one happens to be your favorite. Again, make sure you head over to the playlist. The link is in my description box, and check out all the other ladies' inspirations for you. But yeah, that's all I have. Be blessed, stay safe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!